I didn't have any fond memories from my childhood. No seat for you, James. Ha ha ha. This was because I was a victim of classic, unpleasant bullying. However, the middle school teachers ignored it, dismissing it as just kids playing pranks on each other. Perhaps it was because it was in a rural area. No one condemned the conflicts among children. I grew up in this environment, but one day in the summer of my 3rd year of middle school, I couldn't bring myself to go to school. I had been skipping school intermittently, but the feeling of dread became so physical that I couldn't get out of bed in the morning to go to school. It was too emotionally overwhelming, and my body just wouldn't respond. My parents were extremely worried, and I confessed honestly. You see, I guess I had a conflict with my classmates, or things just aren't going well. I don't like the teacher either. I just don't want to go to school anymore. Oh my, I didn't realize. I'm so sorry for not noticing sooner. My parents reported what I told them to the school and protested. However, is there any proof that what James is saying is true? Couldn't this just be a sign of rebellion? Teacher Johnson didn't seem interested in listening to us. Hearing those words made me feel even more reluctant to go to school. When I was feeling down about not having a place at school, a local alternative school came to my rescue. It was a small school run single-handedly by an elderly man named Mr. Williams. What's with that homeroom teacher? How can they say such awful things so easily? Come to our school, I'll teach you, don't worry. Mr. Williams welcomed me warmly. He was not only kind, but also honest about when something was wrong. This approach made me feel that he was truly helping me confront and understand myself. My grades were poor since I hadn't attended much school during those 3 years of middle school. Honestly, my only option was to attend a correspondence school without exams. But Mr. Williams said, "The correspondence school here allows daily attendance. That's for learning social interaction in addition to academics. So, you should come every day and learn how to interact with others." I have become quite averse to social interaction, so the idea of attending scared me. But Mr. Williams strongly recommended it. Staying cooped up every day isn't good for your health. You'll be fine. You'll get used to it soon. What do you want to be in the future, James? Attending school might bring you closer to that. I've always wanted to be someone who can help others. I feel worthless right now, but I mumbled that and decided to enroll in the high school. It was an afternoon class at a correspondence school, and amazingly, Mr. Williams used his lunch break to accompany me to school. He was close with the teachers at the correspondence high school. "We can go to high school together until you get used to it. This way, you can attend, right?" "Yes," I nodded. I had never met such a passionate teacher before. That's why I could trust Mr. Williams with all my heart. But if something's bothering you, feel free to talk about it. Don't hold back, okay? He said that, giving me an outlet and a place to share my troubles. High school was great, with really nice teachers. Recently, there's this girl at school I'm interested in, but I can't bring myself to talk to her. I realized I was even consulting Mr. Williams about my love life. "Is that so? You've got some room in your heart for that now, huh? That's great. I guess you don't need me anymore," he said, and from the next day, we stopped going to school together. The thought of not going to school with Mr. Williams anymore made me feel lonely, but on the other hand, it also sparked a sense of determination in me. The girl I liked at the time was a classmate named Lily. Lily and I sat next to each other. We didn't talk much, but if one of us forgot something, we'd share textbooks. She was beautiful, and even with few words, she was kind and considerate. I didn't think I was in her league, but I decided to muster the courage to talk to her. "Hey, thanks for always letting me use your textbook. I'm forgetful, always forgetting my textbook. I'm really glad to have a kind neighbor like you." Then Lily said, "Thank you too. I've been waiting for you to talk to me. You know, I'm shy," she said with a laugh. From then on, we started talking more often and began eating lunch together. Eventually, This naturally led to us dating. Things went so smoothly. I couldn't believe I was dating her. I was so happy, and I even shared the news with Mr. Williams. "That's wonderful," he said with a big smile. Mr. Williams seemed genuinely happy that things were going well in my school life. Life in high school became really enjoyable. After getting a girlfriend, I was motivated to show my best side and studied hard. Before I knew it, the 3 years of high school flew by, and I got a job at the company where my father had retired the previous year. At work, the treatment was tough, partly because I was clearly a nepotism hire. You're in this company as a high school grad from a correspondence school, something normally impossible. Everyone here, including me, has a degree from a renowned university. And then there's you, a high school grad, from correspondence school. A clear case of nepotism. Don't get too cocky. Department head Eric was particularly harsh. It was partly because I hadn't fully grasped my job yet, but more so because he seemed to be the type who vented work frustrations on his subordinates. It reminded me of my experiences in elementary and middle school, leaving a bitter taste. People who bully the weak are everywhere. I need to become stronger. I decided to endure it. If I don't let it bother me, it's nothing. After working for 3 years, my income stabilized, so I proposed to Lily. "I know I've kept you waiting for a long time, but I want you to marry me." "To be able to marry you, James, makes me incredibly happy." She said this with a sparkling smile. Ever since we started dating, Lily has always been open about her feelings, making me feel needed and happy. While my personal life was going smoothly, my situation at work was getting worse. "After all, you're just a high school grad from a correspondence course." Eric would add these words meaninglessly at the end of our conversations. What does that have to do with anything? Our current conversation. In any job, you know, your educational background follows you. What a pitiful life. He laughed. I wasn't particularly bad at my job, yet I kept being told such things. Honestly, I was completely fed up with my boss. One day, I went back to my hometown during long holiday. My older brother Scott's eldest son, Kyle, a middle schooler, was there too, chatting happily with my parents and Lily. Scott is a doctor in our hometown, working at a hospital. After eating too much and feeling heavy, I decided to go for a run. After our meal together, Kyle went out alone. He's really dedicated to the track team and never misses a day of running. Even at home, he runs every night, Scott mentioned. Well, that's a good habit. A while later, Kyle returned from his run, but he was clearly not okay. As soon as he returned, Kyle was panting heavily, struggling to breathe, and his rhythm of inhaling and exhaling was erratic. "Hey, Kyle, are you okay? What happened? Someone, get a paper bag." My brother Scott patted Kyle's back. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" Everyone was shouting worriedly, but my brother Scott called out to the family, "Quiet, don't talk to him. Just focus on exhaling. Forget about inhaling for now." He calmly instructed Kyle. I didn't understand what was happening and was at a loss for words. Anyway, I was feeling very anxious. But my brother seemed to know exactly what was going on. My mother fetched a paper bag from the closet and handed it to Scott. He put the bag over Kyle's mouth. "Breathe out slowly. You're okay now. Kyle, lie down and rest," Scott said and took Kyle to another room to rest. "Scott, what's going on? Does he have a serious illness?" Dad asked worriedly, but Scott shook his head. "That was exercise-induced hyperventilation syndrome. It happens when breathing gets irregular during physical activity, but calming the breathing with a bag helps." Kyle ran a different route today and was a bit nervous about seeing everyone, which might have affected his breathing. He's on medication, so it's not a daily issue. He should be fine. I was amazed at how calmly and efficiently Scott had handled Kyle's episode. Being a doctor is incredible. Yeah, But it's tough, too. There's nonsense in the medical community, but the rewarding part is that my knowledge and skills can help people, save lives, and see them recover and smile. With a warm smile, my brother Scott said that, and I gathered the courage to ask him, "Can someone become a doctor even if they start as an adult? Are you thinking of becoming a doctor, James?" I nodded. "Just looking at you, Scott, I've realized that living a life where I can help others is wonderful. I want to consider a life like that. But it's tough for adults to take entrance exams. Studying is hard, and you need to earn a living. And you have Lily. You need her consent. It'll be quite difficult." But Lily, sitting beside me, said, "If James has a dream, I want to support it. I can work double to cover our living expenses." Surprised by her quick agreement, I said, "Really? Even though I just started talking about this? James, you've never had a dream or goal before. I'm so happy to hear you say this. I want you to pursue it." Encouraged by Lily's support, I felt motivated. Studying as an adult may be hard, but having work experience can make you a good doctor. Go for it. There are various scholarships available, so don't be afraid. I support you. Scott's encouragement made me feel stronger. If I could become someone who helps others, it would be truly fulfilling. When I told Eric about my resignation and plan to study medicine, he said, "What? Studying for college now, and aiming for medical school? Is this your life's revenge? Escaping reality? How pitiful." It was frustrating, but I didn't respond and just submitted my resignation. Honestly, I wasn't confident, and there are many other ways to help people. But somehow, I strongly wanted to pursue medicine and take on this challenge. Lily supported me, saying, "You'll pay me back double," and even helped finance my prep school. After 3 years of intense study, I finally passed the entrance exam. Yes, Lily and I hugged and cried with joy. I then told my parents and Scott, and they were thrilled. So, I continued my studies as a medical student, graduated from university in 6 years, and worked for 2 years as a resident at the university hospital. Even though I still couldn't consider myself someone who could truly make a difference, I continued to study. After my training ended, I officially started working as a cardiac surgeon. Days were bustling, and before I knew it, time had flown by. I gained confidence in my surgical skills and finally felt like I was a valuable, helpful person. Then, one day, Eric, I saw a familiar name on the patient chart for an upcoming surgery. To my surprise, the person who came into the consultation room was Eric, my former boss. "I'm Dr. Harford, your attending physician. I used to work under you." "Wait, are you the one from back then?" He looked shocked, recognizing me. "You can't be serious. You actually became a doctor." "It's no lie. I'll be handling your surgery." "Is there no way to change the surgeon? I am in charge of this surgery. I've performed many similar operations, so please rest assured." Eric turned pale and said, "I'm sorry for the past. Please, don't make any mistakes. I don't want to die. Don't worry, you're in safe hands." He seemed to think I might intentionally commit a medical error. That could never happen. But my former boss was visibly frightened, a clear case of reaping what one sows. Despite Eric's fears, the surgery was a complete success. "Eric, can you hear me?" He looked dazed as he woke up from the surgery. "Was it successful?" "Yes, the surgery was successful." Eric shed a tear. "I'm relieved, truly. Other hospitals refused me. It was a complicated surgery. If not for you, Dr. Harford, I wouldn't have survived. Thank you for saving me, despite everything. You're a real doctor." Hearing those words, I felt a long-standing cloud lift from my heart. Several years later, this time, surprisingly, my mentor from the free school, Mr. Williams, was admitted to the hospital. "Never thought I'd meet you as a doctor and patient. I'm so looking forward to it, I can hardly sleep. Ha ha ha." Mr. Williams said this the day before his surgery, but passed away unexpectedly that night. It was a sudden stroke. At the funeral, I was so shocked that I forgot I was a doctor, feeling lost and overwhelmed. But there was no denying that Mr. Williams was gone. I had to accept it. As I was leaving the funeral, James, Mr. Williams's wife, Emily, approached me. He was really looking forward to seeing you at the hospital. He even prepared a letter for you. Please read it. She handed me a white envelope. Inside, written in familiar handwriting, was this message. James, it took time, but I'm happy you found what you wanted to do and achieved your dream. Congratulations. You know, if it wasn't for you, if we hadn't met, I might have quit being a teacher. Thank you for letting me continue teaching. You said you wanted to be a doctor to help people, but you were already helping people before you became one. Mr. Williams. Tears streamed down my face. Even before I became a doctor, I wasn't worthless. Reading that letter helped me finally gain confidence in my personal life, not just work. Thank you for everything, Mr. Williams. Lily and I started visiting Mr. Williams's grave on his monthly anniversary. And now, I live confidently in both my professional and personal life with Lily, happily ever after. This, I believe, will never waver.